Hello, everybody. Coach Luis here, health fitness specialist with Exos at Autodesk. Welcome to the final live stretch break of this week. Before we get started, if you guys have any suggestions, requests, if anything feels like it needs a little bit of extra love, just go ahead and drop it in the chat. We can definitely work it into the routine today. I'll give you guys a second or two to do that. Otherwise, I have a good plan today, and I have a little bit of a curveball for all of us. At the end, we want to do some chest. I know a lot of push-ups recently, huh? Great. We'll definitely get in some chest. We'll start with some chest, but I do have a little surprise for us at the end, something we typically don't work on. So, not seeing any more suggestions. We'll go ahead and get started here. So let's get started on the ground. We're going to be in a tall kneeling position, so both knees on the ground. If you have a yoga mat, it might work to fold it up a couple times just to make that contact with our knees and the ground nice and soft, nice and comfortable. Okay, so before we start to move, we want to make sure that our glutes and core, we can find some tension there just so our hips stay under us the whole time while we stretch. We don't want them, to get bent at the hips and have them poke back out behind us. So let's find some tension in those glutes, find some tension in the core. Be mindful as we go. We'll take those hands, interlace those fingers behind the back, pretend like we're holding on to a super heavy kettlebell. Let those hands get real close to the ground. We're kind of pulling those hands apart a little bit while still keeping them together. Pull those shoulders back, open up that chest. And we're going to breathe specifically into that chest. So let's see how much we can balloon up that upper rib cage here with our breath. Make sure those shoulder blades stay pulled back and together here. We're just trying to open up that chest as much as possible. Big deep breaths here, you guys. Check in with that core and those glutes. Make sure they're still in the same spot. Let's do a couple more. Last one coming up here. Nicely done, nicely done. Okay, with those hands, we can start to slowly release them. Control those shoulders back into a neutral position. Good job. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to get some internal rotation going on those hips. So let's stay on the ground. I'm going to move my camera down here a sec, or a little bit, I guess I should say. Shin box position. So we got one leg down out in front, one leg down out to the side. We're going to work on that side leg primarily here. So in order to get some significant movement, what we're going to do, we like to stay nice and erect in this position. So keep the core tight. I'm going to have us slight lean over that front leg. Back leg should still stay connected. We're kind of active here in this front hip. We can use the hands for some light fingertip support here. What we're going to start to do is drive that back ankle into the ground. So drive, 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 drive. Should feel the back of that hip activate, some squeeze back there. And then what we're going to do is internally rotate, try and pick that ankle up off the ground in the back there. We should feel all kind of a similar squeeze, similar working going on here in this back hip. Keep that spine nice and long. Let's bring that ankle back to the ground. We're going to do a couple more times. So really solid push into the ground here. We want to feel the back of that hip wake up, push, 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 push. And then let's lift again, rotate that back hip. Still stay nice and long through this spine, guys. Don't get all bent. And then let's do it one more time. So drive that back ankle into the ground. Drive, 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 drive. And then let's rotate. Let's pull that foot up as much as we can. Squeezing around that hip. All right, relax that back ankle. We can come all the way up. Good job, you guys. Let's switch it on over to the other side. So whatever leg you started with in front, that leg is now off to the side. This is my slightly tighter side, so definitely going to be good to have some support here. So first things first, knees and ankles are on the ground. You can kind of slight lean forward, maybe some fingertip support. Core is still tight. Try to be nice and long through that torso. I'll start by driving that ankle into the ground. Should feel the back of that opposite hip now wake up a little bit. And then let's try and rotate, bring that foot up off the ground. Ooh, yikes, I am tight. That's barely coming off the ground. And relax. You guys, if the foot's not going anywhere, don't worry. All we got to do is keep practicing, keep drilling this in, and it will get up in the air. All right, 2 more. Let's drive that ankle. Drive it into the ground here. Breathe, and then let's pick it up. Big time rotation, as much as we can handle. And then relax. Man, that's starting to burn. All right, we got 1 more to do though. Let's drive that ankle. Drive, drive, drive. Still stay long through that torso. Now let's pick up that back leg. Man, that is tight. Want to feel that glute working. And then relax. Good job, you guys. Good job. Okay, way to keep the core tight as we went through that one. Let's go ahead and come out of that shin box position lightly. Next up, let's go hands and knees. We're going to be in doing a quick child's pose here, trying to open up the side body here a little bit. So with those knees kind of spread apart a little bit wider than the hips, let's walk those hands way out to one side. I'm starting with my left. From here, we sink the hips back towards the heels. The hands being off to one side, we can pull them into a comfortable position, but we want one side to be nice and open. So once we find a comfortable spot, it's nice, deep inhales. We're trying to expand that rib cage as much as possible. We should be feeling some stretch under that shoulder, through the side body, maybe even in a little bit into the low back. Play around with it, find a comfortable spot. And it's time to breathe. One more breath. All right, we can begin to rise, put a little more weight in those hands, walk those hands way out to the other side. For me, it's that right side. Now we can sink those hips back, find a similar position where we can rest and relax with one side being opened up. Now let's breathe into that outstretched side. Trying to expand that rib cage as much as we can. Good job, everybody. All right, coming up on our last breath here. Nicely done. All right. Can bring those hands in. We can slowly rise. Take the hips away from the heels. Good job. Bring those knees under you. All right, everybody. Good job. So, as promised, a little curveball to end off our session. What we're going to do is work specifically on our feet, and even more specifically, our toes. So, if you're already barefoot, great. If you have some socks on, consider taking them off. They could be a little bit restrictive. I'm going to let you guys stay comfortable with that one. If you have shoes, definitely take them off just for a second. It would be really hard to see how your toes are moving. You can probably feel it within the shoe, but the shoe might not allow for those toes to move very well. So I'm going to stand on up. I can probably fit my whole frame in here, but I want you guys to get a good look at my feet. And I'm sorry if you're grossed out by feet, but what we're going to be doing here today with these toes is trying to control, see if we can differentiate the control between pressing down with the big toe and then pressing down with the rest of those 4 toes. So we're going to start with that big toe, usually the easier one to control. So let's start by just pressing all those toes into the ground, like we're really trying to grip that ground or leave an imprint of our toes on the ground here. Maybe we're standing in some wet cement. But then let's keep that big toe down and try and raise up all those other ones. You guys can see I'm pinning my big toes down. All the other toes are up in the air, reaching out. Typically when I do this, my hands try and mirror it a little bit. That's okay if you guys are doing it. Let's hold. and then relax everything. Good job. You can shake those toes out a little bit, give them a little wiggle. Cool. We're going to do that one more time. Let's continue to work. Let's push down through those big toes. Raise up those other ones. All 4 of those other toes. Raise them up as high as possible. Try and spread them out if you can. Good job. Good job. And we're probably feeling those arches starting to burn right now, huh? Good job. Let's keep holding it and relax. Good. All right. Give those toes a little bit of a shake. We got them warmed up. Okay. Next thing that we're going to do, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to try and keep those 4 toes down, raise up that big toe. Now, this might be tough. I know I'm probably going to have a second or two to try and find that spot. So let's start by pressing all those toes down, trying to make that same 5, special guest here, same 5 imprints, toes on the ground. And then let's try and pick up just those big toes and leave all those other 4 toes pressing down into the ground. Good job, you guys. Try it out. It may not work right away. This is why we practice. All right, let's relax all those toes. We're going to do it one more time, then we'll wrap it up. Same deal. Let's push all the toes down into the ground, all of them. Trying to give the ground a nice imprint of all 5 toes, or however many toes you have. Definitely want to be inclusive here. And then let's pick up those big toes and press down with the rest. Press, press, press. Foot's giving the thumbs up with that big toe. Good job, you guys. Good job. Let's keep holding it and relax. All right, wiggle those toes out. Good job, you guys. Hope no one pulled any foot muscles in this stretch break. Hope we got a little bit better, got to feeling a little bit better. As always, Coach Luis here, health fitness specialist. Don't forget, we got abs and core and mobility with Brittany at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. And then we got our live classes going on tomorrow. If you guys want to learn about those live classes, Exos at Autodesk SharePoint site, which can be found by typing in Exos at Autodesk on Autodesk One. So hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Catch you guys next time. Take care out there.